Right now, we'd start by taking a look at the Daily Trust newspaper's front page. There's a lot of stories happening this morning. The major story here says, inside military 16 airstrike errors on citizens in 9 years. Riders there says over 400 fell victims. Pay compensation to recent victims and revisit other cases. That's according to the ACF and experts. Also, we have children, women among casualties. Justice must be served for victims of Kaduna bombing. That's according to Sultan Saad Abubakar. Now, all the stories, you find it on pages 4 and 35 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Fatima, there's a lot of things happening about this. I mean, this is what has been trending all through this week. Started from Sunday evening until Monday, where the news was everywhere about the situation. And people are pushing for compensation, which definitely the military and the federal government would do. They have to, yes. But then there is always that push also from people saying that it wasn't a mistake. So definitely somebody needs to pay for that kind of mistake. It's too big for
I've heard so many scholars and, many people talking about it all over social media, saying they have to be compensated. The families have to be compensated and well taken care of, and a whole lot of compensation, not just just minor or little money. Yes, so I actually feel that needs to be done, for the sake of the lives of the people that were taken unexpectedly and all that. So yeah, definitely.
Let's not forget, the village is almost destroyed.
Yes,
I mean this thing killed people, so definitely houses is one of the things that
the perpetrators have to be caught and justice have to be served.
Yes. Who gave that? I mean, that's why people were pushing that the military shouldn't be the one in charge of that investigation, even though they'll do their internal one. But the federal government needs to take the bull by its horn and do their own investigation. Because who in the first place gave that order? Yes. No, not even the order. They said they got intelligence, from someone. So who gave them the intelligence that these people, whom everyone keeps saying that they always come unannounced, and then you're saying that you found out that they were going to attack, and then it turns out that it was the villagers. I mean, the mistake was just too much. Yeah. It was too big. It cost lots of life, and when you see the mass burial that was done on these people, it's something that would definitely touch your heart.
Definitely, you can't even stand the picture of the
graphics of the kids in the hospital.
Definitely. So it's a whole lot, and our heart goes out to the families of the people that lost their loved ones.
Indeed. All right, below there, we have, of course, the numbers of what Daily Trust research came out with about the number of people killed in the military strike in 9 years. I mean, the type of attack, we have the jet and the drone, and all this is done. If you want to see every details of how many people were killed on what year and month, then you can, of course, pick a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper. Below these statistics here, it says CBN warns of fake naira notes in circulation. You find this on page 7. There was that fear before about that fake circulation, and that was when the new naira notes came in, when someone even said it looks wash off. So them coming back again to say it's I mean, most times is when there is rigidness, when there is lack of circulation, that's when things like this keep happening, because people are looking for cash everywhere.
Yeah. And it's seasonal, it's season moments, like Indeed. Festivities are...
Everyone wants to hold
cash, People want to travel, some people want to buy food items, stock their houses because of the festivities and what have you. So yeah, cash is really important. In fact, every day is important.
It is important.
There's no life without money.
And exactly.
Yeah. So
and let's not forget, Fatima, earlier, I think the CBN late last month came out also to say that we need to be careful with POS transactions, because they will switch your ATM cards and all that. So now people don't trust people with the transfers.
At the time, they were not even saying they will switch. They actually were scaring us that, they can actually save your details and then you could just see withdrawals. Well, actually, there were people that that actually complained. They went to withdraw from an POS, and they kept seeing alerts, debit alerts, and you'll be wondering
and
how
they're
that
still
happens.
holding their card.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot that needs to be explained, because when it started newly, we didn't really understand what it's all about. So it's now that people are actually getting to understand how POS works and what you need to be doing to be careful so you don't lose your money.
Indeed. Really sad one there. So right now people want cash, and then the cash is they are fixed in circulation. So please just take care and make sure you pay attention to that. All right. So beside that, we have impacts of palliatives elusive despite the federal government's 5 billion naira to states. It says about 10 kg for households in Ogun converted to Christmas gifts in Anambra. Okay. Others used funds to settle WAEC and NACO fees. Part of the palliative used for mass wedding in Kano. Policy faulty. Government must adopt inclusive approach. That's according to experts. Now, you find this on page 5 and 6. This is something that people have been talking about the division of palliative, which has always been confusing because one state is using it to pay school fees for WAEC and NACO, and others are using it to give a mass wedding. That's in Kano, and in Ogun it was given to them as a Christmas gift. I mean, it's now making, and let's not forget Katsina State are using it to recruit more vigilantes in order to help in insecurity. So it's like
every state is engaging in different
in something that would help. Okay, so say Katsina, it's involving everybody. I mean, security is something that affects everyone's life. But then experts are saying that it's a faulty policy because not everyone would benefit from that palliative when it comes to other states. I mean, we're talking about the Christmas gifts that you're giving. How can everybody be able to get it?
Well,
even if people are rich, everybody needs the money.
So but at the end of the day, no matter, except they're going to give everybody, like, I'm serious, stop laughing. Okay. Except they are going to give everybody, the whole Nigeria, for example. If not, there's definitely going to be a whole lot of people missing out on whenever any, relief gifts, grants or palliatives comes. It's not everyone that will get it.
Well, that's really sad. I mean, so a lot of people are suffering from this. So, I mean,
except they keep records, if there is a record that, okay, this palliative went to this so number of people, their names, their house numbers are taken. Maybe when another one comes out, you cross-check. Yes, and then you continue from where the other people didn't get. And then maybe that way, it can reach out to other people that have never got, because there are a whole lot of people that have never gotten palliative.
But this actually pulls back to what Nigerians are saying, that there is no need of this palliative. Why not just find a way, pull that
increase
a lot
salary.
Of money, exactly, in maybe increasing salary, or even taking care of making sure that the refineries start working. That way, everybody would benefit from it. Yes,
definitely.
It would cushion the effects of what is happening.
Yeah.
Anyways, a sad situation there. We have my stepchild or my stepchildren prevents me from enjoying my husband. A woman tells the court. You find this on page 37. Really sad, family situation rather. All right, below the headlines, we have Dangote refinery begins processing of 1 million barrels of crude oil. You find this on page 7. And yesterday morning, our newspaper reviewer Nuruddin Abdullah made mention of the fact that Dangote owes Nigeria nothing, so we should not be expecting that the fuel pump price would reduce just because he is a refinery. Yes, he is a businessman after all.
Yeah, because I feel it's personal, right?
Yes.
But then I feel at the same time maybe they are stakeholders also, because no matter how, except he took care of it alone, but I feel like, in my own thinking, that maybe the government has a share in it, and then there are other stakeholders, that have contributed to, just also they can benefit from it. So at the end of the day,
he just has to hold on. Everybody needs to give back to the society. So Dangote, we are holding you accountable. But Dangote has been
giving back to the society.
He should do it in terms of
the
problem. All right, so beside that, we have CITN honors a Daily Trust with the Best Print Media Award. You find this on page 7. That's a congratulations for the Media Trust Group family. It's been a win-win situation for us all through this week. Beside that, the entertainment, we have How I Joined Kannywood. That's according to the actress Raihan Kamshi. You find it on page 16. Now, these are some of the stories on the Daily Trust newspaper today.
Okay, so let's quickly move to The Nation Saturday this morning. Cash crunch. CBN raises the alarm over counterfeit banknotes. Ahead of Christmas withdrawals limits sparks public frustration. You can find that story on page 4. And 3.4 billion debt appeal court orders Makinde to pay XLG, local government chiefs. Slams 50 million fine on Oyo government and others. You can find that story on page 5. Controversy as commissioner alleges forgery of Akiridelu's signature. You can find that story on page 6. Maya, now there's a whole lot happening right here, even though there are no much stories on the front page of the nations. But then, you know, we just spoke about cash crunch because it's festivity time. Whenever there is a festive moment, you know, season coming up, there's always going to be something lacking, you know, something, commodities are high, cash is missing, and what have you. And then now he's saying that there are going to be fake notes like you just mentioned. So I think that it's something that we need. There's always, that has always been happening. I'm wondering how Nigerians come up with, you know, fake notes.
I wonder,
and it looks so real.
Of course.
But then they'll have to tell you. You remember when the 1,000 naira came out, they were telling us some specific things to look out for to make it that you know the real one and the fake one. But Nigerians are very smart at the end of the day. So yeah, that's just about it for The Nation this morning.
All right, let's move on to more stories. We'll take a look at the Punch newspaper this morning. The major story here says that families face bleak Yuletide over the rising food prices and, of course, the fares and others. I mean, it's a lot of saddest things happening when it comes to the Yuletide season. It should be all for festivities. The writers there said food prices tripled and traders expect further rise, fear low patronage. Many cancel, adjust travel plans for Christmas as transport fares keep rising. Now, what people are forgetting is that the moment you keep increasing your products and you know, and your fares, then people will not patronize you. I mean, there is that fear that this is this Christmas that a lot of people will not be going back home, and it's because of the cost of living. You know, talking about the transport, the food. And we all know how we all wish to have dirty December, but it's not looking that way for many. A really sad one. There you find this on page 4 of the newspaper. We have 50 ladies showed interest in me after searching for love online. That's according to polio survivor. Lagos needs 7 trillion naira for infrastructure, says Sanwo-Olu. You find this on page 9. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of demands and money. But then the controversy behind the billions of naira on fan and other things has been quieted, you know, in Lagos. So right now, when the governments are coming out to say, okay, we need about 7 trillion naira, the people cannot even relate to it, to say that, okay, you people have been spending money on other things. So if you knew that we needed this, why not stock that money to do something else with it? All right, so we have blighted by deadly superstition. Children accused of witchcraft suffer shame and abandoned by families. You find this on page 34 and 35. Fatima, you remember the time where we spoke about witchcraft and how people are being humiliated, shamed, you know, even they get jungle beaten, you know, because of that kind of narrative saying that someone is witch or something, where
without even you know,
without proof.
Yes, without proof that, okay, this person, even though, you know, some of the videos, you remember back then when we showed some of the videos like Kaduna, the Adamawa, I think, and some cases that we have seen on social media actually proves to be like it's actually real, because you could see the victim and then you could see the person. The person they're accusing of being the witch.
And sometimes the person is pushed to confess, even though
to say that, oh yeah, I did. Because I watched one video of a lady, you know, in the hospital say, oh yeah, I bewitched my friend because we had a fight, and they were in a group where they were doing this contributions with the Adashi thing. And then she was actually angry, or she was, you know, I don't know if it is envy. I would say, because for some people it actually starts from there.
Of course, I mean, witchcraft starts from there. But then, when we had the conversation, a lot of people didn't even believe it. Where I remember a story that happened in Cross River, where a woman had to abandon her 2-year-old baby because her pastor told her that that baby is a wizard. That's what it's called. And then she abandoned her child. But then one of these international NGOs picked that baby, and after 5 years she was able to see her child again, or 7 years.
Are you talking about the story of a couple of years ago, that baby that was dumped?
Indeed.
On the baby boy?
It was a baby boy.
Yeah, he was accused of being a wizard at that young age. I mean, now
we're in front page of the Punch newspaper right now. Look at how little these babies are.
Yeah.
And they're saying that they're abandoning them because they're witches and all that. Honestly, we need to just make
a whole lot of things are
change
still happening in this country, even though it's not known to a lot of people, because the stories are not going around. Even there are still people that still believe twins are a curse.
I thought we were past that.
They have not. There are actually places that still believe. I couldn't believe it when I actually did a report on it early this year.
Interesting.
That's early this year. Yeah.
Situation,
so it's actually really sad, that it's children like this,
are
very young,
suffering
and going through all this trauma that they don't even know what it is actually.
A really sad one.
It's a sad one.
All right. From that, we have Ondo Commissioner writes, Ayedatiwa says Akeredolu's signature was forged. I mean, there's still drama happening in Ondo back to back. We hope that they resolve this. It's all about the citizens and not the personalities. Below the headmaster, it says it looked like end of the world had come. That's according to Kaduna bombing survivors. I mean, those people, the trauma, I cannot even begin to guess, how these people felt. You find this on page 8 if you want to get in the mind of these people that survived that horrible situation. Then of course you can pick a copy of the Punch newspaper. Ogun finance director wife ended 3-day fast day and after he was killed. That's according to brother. You find this on page 2. On the entertainment segment, it says entertainers with failed marriages still admired by many. Okay, this caption says a lot. So why shouldn't they be admired? I mean, just because you have failed marriage doesn't mean it's the end of the world. We have Tiwa Savage, we have Kate Henshaw, we have Funke Akindele, and I've forgotten his name. His name just escaped my mind. So yeah, Niniola, something like that. So yeah, these are some of the stories on
Nino. You mean Nino?
Nino, yeah.
Oh.
These are some of the stories on the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, so let's look at the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, crude oil theft poses for Navy. Their gunboats in shootout with Tompolo's men, boasting ship stealing crude oil. Illegal connections hits 4,800 military. You can find that story on page 33 and page 5. The trial of evangelist Emefiele, prosecution turns persecution. You can find that story on page 28. Tinubu needs petroleum minister. Falai speaks on how to manage inflation. You can find that story on page 22 of the Vanguard this morning. And then the writer there says citizens to Tinubu cut cost of governance. Nigerians suffering. You can find that story on page 10. Nigeria 2022-2023, what we told you. You can find that on page 12. Beware of fake Naira notes, CBN alerts Nigerians. We've just spoken about that. You can find the story on page 8. The good thing is, every time something comes out, all the front pages of the newspaper text it, so that way people get to believe that, okay, this story is actually real. Indeed. And then you need to watch out so you don't get scammed or duped. Okay, so why Tiwa Savage bombed internet with bikini photos. You can find out all the entertainment stories on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, and that's it for Vanguard.
All right, the Tribune carries from the top of the page as fake Naira notes in circulation. We have detained for 18 months for protesting the borrower's mother. Rhoda Jatau's relations, colleagues, and CSOs demand her release. You'll find this on page 25. Now, this is another story that has been a bit quiet. So it happens that there was a detention of someone, and then right now they're pushing that she is released, which I'm confused about the story, considering it was said that about a lot of, I thought it was the guys who made that situation. Right now we're having a lady. So, I mean, if you want clarity on that story, you can find it on the Saturday Tribune. The major story says, war in Ondo over Akeredolu's signature. I have discovered forgery, Energy Commissioner said. Allegation is criminal and idiotic. That's according to the Information Commissioner. Below that, we have Kaduna bombing. 261 northern lawyers signed to fight for victims. Okay, that's another angle, another situation coming out there. We'll find this on page 4 of the newspaper. Ahead, Supreme Court of verdict. The police and other security agencies on red alert in Kano. CP warns the politicians. I mean, there's still tension in Kano State over the appeal court's judgment. You'll find this on page 3. Nigeria's debt stock was 87.37 trillion naira in September. That's according to DMO. NNPCL rejects Senate's move to jack up oil production benchmark. You find this on page 5. Now, these are some of the stories on the Saturday Tribune.
Okay, and then on the Guardian this morning, right there on top, leading ladies take movie. Sumaya, I love this even before I finish reading. So, leading ladies take movie battle to big screen. Now, they are talking about, the beef between Funke Akindele and Twin Abraham at a time. I thought they actually made out like, they are now friends.
But this was just
the banter is like, oh, I'm going to make the best movie. And then they're both comedians kind of in their own way, So it's actually good to see that they're actually taking whatever it is, to the big screen to see who is going to do what.
Most times situations like this, it's not them. It's always the society, putting the industry, putting these people against each other. I mean, when we're talking about, say, the music industry outside Nigeria, you'd see where people are always putting Nicki Minaj and Cardi B in that same narrative.
Even when they are not fighting, even when there's no beef until beef starts. Yes. But don't you think sometimes they're actually making that, just to, give the internet something?
No, it gets so bad to a point that we saw how it all pans out on that situation. Because they were cool before. Nikki was sending shout outs to. They are not. They are on very bad terms now.
I think they have made out to Sumaya.
They haven't. Not okay. Toyin and Fuki have made up, but then
Cardi B and Nikki, I think I've made up. Maybe we need to go and check that story actually.
That's on.
So So that will be much later. Every woman should have knowledge of managing money effectively. Oladiwuro Oladepo. Sumaya, there's always a woman saying something every Saturday about women, trying to pass a message across. And I think when people actually go through the stories, they will learn one or two things, because there is a story on that. So you can check that on page 13. And then the writer there says, Yuletide, Nigerians shelve traveling plans over insecurity transport fare. You can find that story on page 2. And it's really, a cause to worry, because people want to travel by road, people want to travel by air, and then the cost is high. You're scared kidnappers would take you or your family or your loved ones. So people want to actually go and, celebrate and, catch up with their loved ones. It's time for union, to reunite with your family. But then, this whole insecurity situation,
it's really sad. I mean, people are not even, majority of people in Nigeria cannot afford the airplane, and there has been statistics and warning from the IATA saying that when it comes to transports, Nigeria, we're talking about Abuja and Lagos International Airport, charges the most expensive for local flights, which is ridiculous. I mean, local flights, I'm traveling from Lagos to Abuja, should not even be more than 50,000 if we're talking about Nigerian money. So it's now becoming too hard, too difficult for the middle class Nigerian to travel using the plane, which at this point it's like
whichever one, because
it's like
transportation is still high. Someone just came back and they were complaining. I just overheard, like, from Jos to Abuja alone is like close to 15,000 naira by road. road. So you can imagine how expensive that is. You know, I could actually send that to a loved one
And
somewhere, and then, you know,
considering the road
maybe
is
get something, you know,
better.
to support. Yeah. So yeah, this one you can find that story on page 2. Africa gets 1 trillion to support sustainable vaccine manufacturing. You can find that story on page 3. Bandits killed over 750 Nigerians in 2023, abducted 45 from schools, reports reveals. You can find that story on page 3. Sumaya, you know, just a couple of, I think on Thursday when I was working, I saw that your students were kidnapped again at the university, Nasarawa State University, when we are not done with the, you know, the whole Zamfara and other girls that were kidnapped or abducted from both secondary and, you know, universities and what have you. So, and then it keeps happening. What do you think about this whole thing?
It keeps happening because we know that, you know, the government are not doing enough on that part, because honestly this is something that keeps happening. There is that fear. Now the bandits are feeling so relaxed, you know, to keep expanding on what is happening. And allegedly there's a lot of mining happening in Nasarawa State, so there's been a lot
you think
like
that could
there's been
actually
a bit of alleged, you know, talk on social media platform, which I've come across, saying that you know, when there are maybe some discoveries of mineral resources on some certain places,
something always
then
happens
insecurity
in that place.
starts.
Yes,
so there has been a bit of fear on maybe
so
the
it's like
discovery
it's like
of
a conflict between the citizens of the state and the government.
We have no idea on that. Allegedly,
allegedly,
no.
yes.
No,
It feels,
allegedly,
no, but
no.
that's what I've seen people say. So, you know, like on social media. So
allegedly, you know, so there's that fear. Of
yeah.
course.
So 4,000 illegal connection exits in NNPCL's pipeline. Emily Kerry tells Senate. You can find that story on page 31. Then the forgery of Akeredolu's signature, you can find that story on page 31 also. And that's it for The Guardian this morning.
All right. I mean, that is the much that we can take on the front pages of the national daily. So you can, of course, go ahead and pick any of the national dailies to catch up on what is happening on different platforms, of course, in Nigeria in general.